Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Blue Jays showed some fight in Game 3 of the ALCS against the Mariners. Also, the Steelers have a chance to strengthen their already firm grip on the AFC North. And the NFL MVP might reside in New England.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Vladdy Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays responded in a big way in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Locked On Blue Jays host Carter First broke down how the Bats got hot in a crucial win over the M's.
Woo! That's the Toronto Blue Jays team we've wanted to see. Andres Gimenez might have just saved the season for the Toronto Blue Jays. What a start to that game. A guy nobody expected to come out in that big moment and hit that home run. Andres Gimenez. Shane Bieber, he had us worried for a second. He really did. That first inning was not good, but he goes 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, turns the temperature up, and propels this Blue Jays team to a win. I mean, look at these stats. 18 hits. That's what we've come to expect from this Toronto Blue Jays team. The team that gets bats on balls, gets those greasy hits, get them on, get them over, get them in. 2-1 series. The Blue Jays are here to play. They haven't given up. We haven't given up. Scherzer on the bump tomorrow. Let's go. We want it all.
The Mariners, who had a chance to nearly put the championship series to bed, were shut down pretty easily by Shane Bieber and the Jays. Locked On Mariners host Ty Gonzalez shared his thoughts on a disappointing performance from Seattle.
If I'm being completely honest with you, I will just tell you, I still have all the confidence in the world that the Seattle Mariners are going to win this series. You can't win every game you play. You're going to lose. Sweeping the Toronto Blue Jays was always extremely unlikely. And I still have all the faith in the world that Luis Castillo and the combination of Brian Wu and Bryce Miller, I almost did it again. I still have all the confidence in the world that they're going to get it done Friday and that we're not going to even see games in Toronto. Toronto, not Toronto, Toronto. I've worked so hard on that. We can only recap tonight. That's our job, to talk about tonight. And tonight sucked out loud. The Seattle Mariners were a dreadful baseball team for all but 2 innings. They were terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. Doesn't mean the Mariners are going to lose this series. Doesn't even mean the Mariners aren't favorites to win this series. The Blue Jays still have to win 3 of the next 4 games. The Seattle Mariners are still in control of this series. But all I can do is talk about tonight, after I give you that caveat, that I still think the Mariners are okay. But boy, oh boy, if they play like this, nobody's okay. They could face the Colorado Rockies tomorrow, and they'd still probably win. But if they play like this against real major league teams, no. Doesn't matter how big of a lead you have. Doesn't matter how good your starters are. Everything was bad tonight.
Stay up to date all year on the Toronto Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Blue Jays and Locked On Mariners on your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, it's Joe Flacco and the Bengals against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. 2 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks. Before we get to that, Russell Westbrook has a new team. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits how I like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. 9-time All-Star guard Russell Westbrook has signed a new deal with the Sacramento Kings.
Russell Westbrook, That's who we're here to talk about. Finally, it happened. We heard rumors and conversations and talk all summer long. Russell Westbrook to the Kings. It was the Kings. It was Russell Westbrook. It was this partnership, this agreement. It seemed like it was going to happen. And there was all of this delay, and the money was unsure because there's not a lot of money available. And how much could they give Russ? And they couldn't free up more money than they were able to this summer. They couldn't move Malik or Devin Carter or the Jonathan Kuminga situation. There was all this stuff in the way of the Kings and Russell Westbrook finally agreeing to a contract, coming together. And we finally got to a point where the Kuminga situation resolved itself. The Warriors and Kuminga were able to work out their deal, so the Kings fell out of that. And we got all the way to October 15th with the season starting less than a week from now. For the Kings, the season starts a week from tonight, but the NBA season begins less than a week from now. And here is Russell Westbrook, still not on the team.
The Chicago Bears might have found a new offensive identity after stealing a win from the Commanders.
And all of a sudden, DeAndre Swift looks like a Pro Bowl running back in over 100 yards and has a big play in the passing game as well. And I do think there's something to be said about, that momentum building on itself, that once you start getting him going in one area, it starts to make everyone a little bit more confident, and the explosive plays start to build off of each other, right? There's a cumulative effect of that. But more than anything, it felt like with DeAndre Swift, the Bears found a rushing identity and stuck to it.
And Lions safety Brian Branch will be serving a one-game suspension after striking Chiefs wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster earlier this week.
First of all, Brian Branch, classless and stupid move. Just brutal. What are you doing, dude? You lost the game. Walk off the field. After the game, Dan Campbell quotes on Branch. Quote, I love Brian Branch, but what he did was inexcusable. It's not going to be accepted here. It's not what we do. I know it's not what we're about. I apologize to Coach Reed and to the Chiefs and to Schuster. That's not okay.
The Steelers have a chance to tighten their already firm grip on the AFC North this week with a game against Joe Flacco and the Bengals that on paper might look like a layup. Locked On Steelers host Chris Carter sat down with Locked On Bengals host James Rapien to preview the Thursday night clash.
All right, Chris, let's get to what the Steelers have to do to get a win, to get to 5-1, to get Aaron Rodgers on set afterward at Paycor Stadium on that prime broadcast, Thursday Night Football. They're interviewing somebody. I would imagine it would be Aaron Rodgers if the Steelers are able to get their 5th win of the season. What do they need to do to make that happen?
They need to come out and play their style of football when it comes to the trenches. And I know that's very much what the Steelers normally try to do against a team like the Bengals that has the talent they have at wide receiver. But that's what they have to do here. They have to be able to stuff the run. Don't let Chase Brown get things going. And I think one thing that's going to be different this year, and the Steelers have made it clear since they made these moves in the offseason, they are much more confident in letting their corners hang in man coverage, at least for the first 4 seconds of a play. And you're seeing that work. And again, I did a film study if you want to see my breakdown of how that's helping in their all-22. But they are trusting their corners to say, hey, you're gonna stick this guy at the line of scrimmage. You're gonna ride him for a few seconds, but trust that the pass rush is going to get home because that's what this team is built upon, and it's really helping things right now. You're seeing like T.J. Watt isn't even the leading sack man for the Steelers right now. It's Nick Herbig, their third-year guy out of Wisconsin. He's been playing very well. Derek Harmon has 2 sacks. Their rookie out of Oregon.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
It's just, I'm telling you, man, they're putting it together up front early. In the first few games, Derek Harmon was missing. Alex Highsmith was hurt, but now they're healthier. They're figuring things out. And even Patrick Queen, who was struggling, I think, a little bit at the start of the year to be in the right place at the right time, he's flying all over the place. The confidence is there. If they can make it about that, that's where the Steelers can find a way to get a win in this game, and I think that's where the Steelers have to look at the chances here with the Bengals, is they have to look at say, hey, if we control, make them play in our style of football, we can win this game. But if this game becomes about Joe Flacco being able to either hit Chase or Higgins on the deep ball several times, or get them going in the game, or even just get lots of defensive pass interference penalties, we know. I think it was last year, Joey Porter had 5 defensive penalties called on him in a single game. That's what can kill you if you're the Steelers, if you keep giving them chances to make plays.
Yeah, I think a couple of interesting things there. One, the Steelers' defensive front is so layered, and they have so many guys. Like, I know Keanu Benton is someone that Bengals personnel, they're like, man, that dude is just so good. Like when they like, and then it's Herbig, and then it's Harmon, who we talked a lot about on Locked On Bengals pre-draft, and it was someone that we thought if he was there at 17 would have been considered. And, you know, there's so many guys like that they have just in the trenches. I mean, I just named all these guys, and you did. TJ Watt is still TJ Watt, right? So that's the key, is this Bengals team. You cannot, at the end of the game, if you're the Bengals, say, oh man, the Steelers were so much more physical than us. Like, if that happens, the game is over.
Right.
Because that's playing right into the Steelers' hand. If it's close, let's say it's 55-45 Pittsburgh. Well, then you can get by with that from a physicality standpoint. So you need to match. Coaches always say we need to match their physicality. Well, sure. But one team is going to have the edge a little bit over the other. If it's close there, I think it gives the Bengals a chance. I mentioned it earlier. They have to start fast. And that's super cliche, but like, they've been so bad in the first half. Like, it's almost not a cliche now. It's like a must do thing, because they're just constantly trailing and playing behind the eight ball. They had one lead, I think, in the first half of the Jake Browning / now Joe Flacco era. And it was 3-0 in Denver when they probably should have went for it for the touchdown on Monday Night Football in their first possession. They settled for a 22-yard field goal, and it felt like a win for Denver. So that's a huge key. I think we've talked a lot about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Mike Gesicki's out. He was put on injured reserve. He's dealing with a pectoral injury he suffered the other day. The other weapons, Andre Yosevich had some drops the other day. That can't happen. Noah Fant has to be a big part of what they do on offense. Chase Brown, same thing, whether it's catching passes, whether it's running between the tackles, whether it's a pitch to the outside, whatever it is, they need to get some of these other guys involved, because the Steelers are going to do everything they can to try to stop Jamar Chase and everything they can to try to contain T. Higgins and make someone else beat them. And so that's a huge factor. And then quickly on defense, one, you can't let the Steelers run the ball, and they let the Packers run the ball last week. If you do that, it's going to be really tough. So make sure the run doesn't beat you. And then when you're in 3rd and long, cause some chaos, get some tackles for loss, get some plays like that, so they're not in the 3rd and short scenarios where Aaron Rodgers just can kind of be a 41-year-old quarterback where he's seen everything there is to see and diagnose it and make the right read. It's a tall task. I think the Steelers, they haven't. I'm not sure they've wowed anyone, or no one's picking them to win the AFC right now or anything. But I just think they're pretty complete, and they're well coached, and it's going to be a tough game.
And they're finding their rhythm. Like the Steelers came into this game into the season wanting to be a more physical team. They wanted to see the offensive line take steps forward. They wanted to see the defense take steps forward. They wanted the defense to be more aggressive. And in the first couple of weeks, there was a lot of questions, because they barely squeaked by the Jets, which still, it's insane when you look back at it and see like how many touchdowns they actually threw in that game. And then you lose to the Seahawks in, some improbable fashion of the things that you do there. But then you start to clean things up week by week, and you see the O-line slowly getting better, and you see the D-line getting better. The run defense is picking up, and then the pass rush is starting to get active. Like, that's where I think that the Steelers are building to get back to being pretty consistent in doing that in all phases. And if the Steelers, like you said, starting fast is huge, because the Steelers, that's when they started racking up their sacks on Dylan Gabriel, was when they got the Browns down big and they had to commit to passing downfield and force them to look. That's where bad things started to happen. And if the Steelers defensive front is able to beat up on the Bengals offensive line, Joe Flacco is going to need to get the ball out quickly and know where to get the ball out quickly, because the Steelers, even though they're blitzing more, they still have a lot of aggressive coverage packages as well, trying to get you to make mistakes. I think that's going to be a big thing to watch this week, is can the Bengals get going early to neutralize that factor and force the Steelers to kind of have to play guessing games for most of the contest.
Another thing here, injury-wise, we're recording this right before the injury report, game status report comes out. Trey Hendrickson, his status, I would say he's in doubt. Wouldn't completely rule it out, but by the time you listen to this or watch this, he may be ruled out for Thursday Night Football. Don't count it out. He may also play. I think it's tough to predict with Trey, because he's really tough, and I think he's going to do everything he can to play, but he just might not be able to on a short week. Shamar Stewart will play, and they need him, regardless of Trey's status, to create some chaos. And they don't have many havoc creators, chaos creators on defense right now. That's one guy that needs to be that, whether it's against the run or in pass rush situations. So it's a tough ask, Chris, but I think this is going to be, I do think it's going to be a close game because both teams have a ton on the line, and I'm excited to watch it.
Stay up to date all year on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today, Locked On Steelers, and Locked On Bengals on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the New England Patriots might have the most valuable player in the NFL. Again. Patriots quarterback Drake May is off to an incredible start, exceeding even the grandest expectations New England fans could have had for the sophomore signal caller. Locked On Patriots host Nick Cattles believes the numbers say that May is a legitimate MVP candidate.
Before this season kicked off, my projection for Drake May was that if he took the necessary steps in his development and he got some pass protection, he would have a shot at sniffing the top 10 at the quarterback position by the end of 2025. That was my projection, my prediction. If he took the steps, and I thought he would take the steps, if he got pass protection, and I felt like his pass protection would be better this year than it was last year, which isn't saying much. If those two things happened, which I thought they would, I said I believed Drake May would be sniffing around the top 10 at quarterback in the NFL. Here we are 6 weeks into the season, and Drake May is legitimately in the MVP conversation. This is not hyperbolic by local people. This is not delusions of grandeur from the fan base. Drake May, by pretty much every measurement, which we'll get into, is absolutely unequivocally in the MVP conversation.
I would really love to sit here and tell you that this is not going to happen, that the Patriots couldn't possibly have done it again. But my other job is as host of Locked On Packers, and I have seen this happen. In fact, I have seen it happen kind of more than once, going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and then Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Jordan Love, we'll see if he is on the level of those other players. And Drake May, we'll see, of course, if he is on the level with Tom Brady. But it is not crazy to have the next guy already here. And if you like the traditional numbers, Drake May has them. If you want the stat nerd numbers, the analytic numbers, I love them. Not everyone does. Well, nearly every MVP of the last decade plus has been the league leader in EPA per play. Drake May right now is third in EPA per play, behind only Sam Darnold and Jordan Love. If you had a vote right now for MVP, would you take Jordan Love or Sam Darnold over Drake May? No, you probably would not. And guess what? The Patriots have the easiest schedule in the NFL left. If they win 12, 13 games, given the Chiefs have already lost a couple, the Patriots have already beat the Bills head to head, this could be the next guy in New England. I'm sorry. And speaking of New England sports, and finally, Joe Mazzulla decided the best way to bridge the gap with Boston media was to absolutely demolish them on the court. The Celtics head coach surprised reporters by swapping their friendly pickup game for one against his coaching staff. Then he unleashed full court pressure in a, and this is true, 57-4 rout. Afterward, Mazzulla said the beatdown was important for humanizing both sides and breaking down barriers, even removing the usual press conference stage to make the point. So in Boston, peace through domination and apparently full court traps. Shout out to our very own John Corrales for apparently showing some fire during the blowout. Nothing but a hard shove and some cardio to show for our Locked On Celtics host. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, the Steelers can't mess this up against the Bengals, right? Right? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on Sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.